Hello and welcome to the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Johnstone, and I have an incredible offer for you today. What we've done is we've taken the 10 most profitable methods to grow your mortgage business that we have learned from interviewing the producers on this podcast, many of whom are doing over $100 million in volume per year. And we've packaged them together into a condensed 45-minute training where you get to learn the 10 most successful and profitable activities that you should be running in your mortgage business. Then we show you how to automate those processes with people and systems so that they run and continue to produce loan applications and new partners that want to send you business pre-booked into your calendar without you having to do any cold calls or chasing or really any work. It's a blueprint for you to be able to produce more in your business while actually working less. And you can go get that training today for free at chriswebinar.com. That's chriswebinar.com. So make sure you head over there today, grab that training for free, and make sure that you watch it, because the sooner you get started on implementing these strategies, the sooner you can see results and continue to grow your mortgage business. Thank you again for being here with us for this episode, and enjoy another one on the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. I am here with Larry Gonzales. We are blessed to have this episode. Larry, thank you so much for being here with us today.
It's great to be here, Chris. Good to talk to you again.
Right on. So for all of our listeners, if you wouldn't mind sharing where you're located and roughly how long you've been in the mortgage business.
Sure. So I am located in Oahu, Hawaii. I know. It's tough living, tough living in paradise. I'm in Oahu, and I've been in the industry for 6 years now. In my sixth full year as a loan officer. Time flies. I feel like I just started in this business. But yeah, been doing it for about 6 years now.
That is amazing. And where do you get the majority of your business from? Now that you're 6 years in, where do you find the majority of your deals coming from at this point?
Realtors. Realtors that I have great relationships with.
Yep.
But also listing agents. Just about every realtor that I work with was at one point a listing agent who, through the level of service that we provided them, they decided that, you know what, we're going to give our next loan to you. And that next loan turned into another loan, turned into another loan. So really, it's a lot of realtors. But now that I've been in the industry for 6 years, tell you what, past clients and past client referrals, I'm getting a lot of those too. And those two types of referrals, I think, are the best type of referrals you can get, because they are referring people to you. You're not cold calling. Yep. And you already kind of have a level of trust from them because their friend recommended them to you, or a realtor who they have a relationship recommended them to you. So that's how my business is continuing to grow. It's just through that reach back and then just doing good business and creating solid relationships.
That's the best way to grow a business. So yeah. Listeners will hear that and think, okay, what's the magic sauce? Like, what is the process? How do you provide such an incredible process that a listing agent wants to come and do business with you? Like, how do you reach out to them? How do you provide that service? And then how do you close the loop at the end in order to actually get them to send that deal?
It's not difficult. The bar for success in our industry is really low. And that's kind of sad to say. But when I talk, I call the listing agent right from the start, before the offer is even accepted. And most of the time, I'm like 75% of the time, the realtor on the listing side is saying, "Oh, Larry, usually I have to call a lender, and the lender never calls me."
Yep.
And they appreciate that. So just right out the gate, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Yeah.
Right out the gate, I'm making a solid impression on them. And then throughout the entire transaction, I am calling them or communicating with them in some way every week to give them an update on the loan. And I used to call them every week, but I don't do that now because my time is spent doing a lot of other things.
Right. Yep.
But I will shoot a video to the listing agent and the buying agent probably every other week, giving them an update. And
Okay.
that saves me time and it saves them time. It's like a 1 minute video. I don't get into a conversation that takes them away from what they were doing. And likewise, it doesn't take me away from what I need to do. So I can rapid fire send out these videos to those agents, and they appreciate that and they love that. And you stay positive, throughout the entire transaction. And if you have bad news, guess what? You don't hide the bad news. You get them
Yep.
the bad news right away, and you tell them, "Hey, here's the bad news. Here's what we're going to do. Here's our plan to get past this, whatever this is."
Yeah. Man, that's a really valuable tip of sending the videos. Do you use BombBomb to send those videos?
I do. I do.
Yep.
Yeah, I love Bomb Bomb. It's easy.
It's fantastic. And so, is it the same template every time? Do you just kind of riff on it, on what the update is, or do you have a structure to how you put those together and send them out?
I just riff.
Awesome.
I've been doing it long enough that I know exactly what I need to tell them, and I'm just nice. I just try and I have a joke about something, or just try and stay positive and just give them the news.
Yep. All right. That's easy to follow.
But I will also go back to say that is not the only point of I am not the only point of communication in the process. So
Okay.
I have loan partners or loan officer assistants who are before we even get into contract, they are communicating back and forth with the realtors as well and the clients, um, so that there's always that continuity. And then my processor, who's amazing, is once that loan's, she's like the running back. You're on the goal line, that the go-to who's going to take the ball in the end zone. She's going to take that file and she's going to get us to close, and she's going to make the comms to everybody to make sure that we have everything we need to close on time. So it really, it goes down to communications, solid, positive communications, timely, and you don't leave anybody in the dark.
Yep. And do you have that structured for your processing team as far as how often they have to communicate with the client?
Yeah, no, I don't actually. I've been in some. I know some companies where they say as a processor, you have to communicate X amount of times per transaction. I don't do that, because that's just not how I operate. I mean, you're creating robots, not professionals who are able to, you know, kind of adjust on the fly.
Yep.
You have checklist driven people, and that's not, the checklists are good for some things, but not for relationships. Do you have a checklist with your wife, Chris?
No, no, I do
No,
not.
you know. So, but with the relationship, it's about staying on top of things, communicating. It's kind of, I never really thought about that before, but it's kind of like communicating with your wife.
Yeah.
You don't keep your wife in the dark on things. You stay up front and with your comms with them. So that's kind of what my team does, and we meet every Monday. We have a team meeting, and we go over every file, and we make sure that we're all in sync with
Yep.
what needs to happen and where we're at, and we decide, all right, well, you know what, you've got the ball on this, Elena. She's my processor. I want you to make that call, because if I make that call, I'm just going to screw it up. And she'll kind of give me the stink eye, but she knows,
Yep.
and she makes it happen because she's got skin in this game too, right?
Yep.
And we all want the same thing, and that's for our clients, and our clients are our realtors as well, to have positive experiences in the transaction.
Yep. And so when you get to the end of the transaction with the realtor, how are you asking for the business? So you've reached out right away, provided a phenomenal service all the way through. Then at the end, how do you get them to send that next deal?
So through the process, I am using those comms to kind of engage and build that relationship. So one of the things that we do at Aligned, and one of the things I love about us is we're not about the sale. We're about educating veterans, in particular veterans, but really everybody now, educating people on their home loan benefits. And we started with VA, years ago, and we do two VA seminars a month, and then one first time homebuyer seminar a month. And
Okay.
so every week there's an opportunity for me to say, hey, Aquino, we do these free VA seminars, and we have one this week. And if you have a client who is on the fence about buying a home, let's get them into the seminar because they're going to come out of that seminar and they're going to be excited to go buy a home because they're going to make a decision to buy on fact, not on fear.
Right.
And they're like, oh yeah, well I have somebody, or maybe they don't, but if you plant the seed, and then at the end of the transaction, when you've closed the deal in less than 30 days, or when you've just done a great job, all along you've been talking to this listing agent, and now you've proven that you're legit, and they're going to give you that next client, and that happens to me often. As a matter of fact, I just signed yesterday for a client, and the listing agent was or the buyer's agent, excuse me, was the listing agent like a month and a half ago with a client, and she was so impressed with the service that she gave that week after we closed, she gave me a or referred a lead to me, and I talked to them. I was buying I was buying like appliances in a store with my wife, and they called me and they were trying to figure out how to put an offer in, and I took it. It was on a weekend. I don't care. I'm not one of those freedom clubbers who doesn't work on the weekends. I'm retired. You know, I love this, so I got no problem talking to you on the weekend. Now, my wife sometimes she has a problem with it, but that's only when she's in the checkout line. She needs me to come over there to give her the credit card to make the payment. But you know, we had that conversation. That was like a month. That was the beginning of where are we at? That was the beginning of March, and we just closed. We're closing that loan this week. So,
Wow.
and that was the listing agent, and it was because I didn't. I don't say, hey, give me your next lead. I'm not like that. I don't think I've ever done that,
Right.
and that's kind of contrary to what some freedom clubbers do. But I do ask for the business in a way where I'm providing value,
Yep.
and hey, we have these free seminars, um, and that just kind of opens the door for further communication and further relationship building, and then passing on their referrals.
That's so. You mentioned the seminars, and I hear a lot of people that are trying to go like around the seminar model, like they're trying to do webinars or they're trying to put out video series. So it sounds like you've been doing those for a while. What's involved in putting together a first-time homebuyer seminar once a month? It sounds like a lot of work. What's actually involved in that?
Well, I don't actually do the seminar.
Oh,
So
I love it.
my branch man. So this is one of the reasons why I love my branch. I don't know if there's a perfect branch out there, but I love my branch because again we focus on education. The owner of our company, Tony Diaz, has been doing VA seminars in Oahu, now all over the country, really for 15 years,
Wow.
and and we used to do them all in person, and with Zoom, everything went virtual, and we went virtual right away. And I actually like that because it allowed us to reach a larger audience,
Yep.
and there's less distractions, I think, with doing it virtual. When you're doing it in person, well, now you actually have to get in a vehicle. You have to go through traffic. There's all these other things. Whereas, hey, when you can hit them at home, um, you can get more people. Like you're limited by the size of the space that you're in too. So there's the positive about doing it in person is you get that personal interaction, and you really can make that connection a lot better in person than you can virtually. But yeah, we set them up via Zoom. We market them on Facebook and Instagram, and we market them really through radio, television, and really through word of mouth. I don't know. I get probably virtual ones. We're getting almost, on the weekends over 100. During the weekdays, maybe 60 people attend those seminars, and the content is great. And my boss, I call him a boss, he's a friend, Tony. His thing is, I want to change somebody's life today.
Right.
Right? It's not I want to get a loan. It's I want to change somebody's life. And he's got a very compelling story that he tells as part of the educational process, because he is like most of us. Most of us who knew nothing about owning a home, myself included. And he makes that connection, and making that connection with your clients, I think, is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be a Tony Diaz, just like you can't be a Larry Gonzales, but you can be you, and you have a story, and you can take somebody else's story and put your own pieces of your story into the narrative of educating on the home on the home loan benefit, whatever is VA, first time home buyer.
That's amazing. And so you're doing those once a month. Now, are you recording them and then people can register and watch them later? Or is it just like it's a live Zoom call? You got to show up for that Zoom call to get the content?
It's live.
It's live.
It's
Okay.
live. You got to show up, because, you know, I think we might have some that are online, but it's live. We record it, but we don't send it out.
Okay.
I know there are people out there who have seen it and are using it as their own material now, and that's not bad. But one of the things people ask, well, we want the slides. Well, the slides, they're just paper, and
Right.
if you don't understand, the notes, right? The notes underneath that you don't see in the slides, which is the nuts and bolts, the details. Then it doesn't make a lot of sense to people. So we like to explain it, in person.
Yep, absolutely. No, that's a great way to have it. So you've got the first time buyer seminar, you've got the real estate referrals. Now, what about your past client referrals? So those are ticking up. What are you doing to keep in touch with your database and to drive business from that?
So there's a lot of different things, and without my daughter, I've kind of struggled in transitioning on some of those items, because when I first started out, I didn't have 1,000 past clients, right? I had 20, so it was pretty easy to stay in touch with them. One of the things that I did right away, and this has helped me tremendously, is I started doing a newsletter, and I did it every week. And I started out in an Outlook, and my first newsletter, and it was basically, I take articles and I put them in the email, and I would kind of put my 2 cents in on the article and how it applied. And I think I started out maybe 20 people on it. It wasn't that many, but that grew over time, and I don't know how many people it goes out to now. It goes out to over 2,000 people. It's a full-blown newsletter. I got my social media guy who puts it together, and it has, I send it out every week. And really, there's part of it is about buying a home, but the rest of it is about, hey, what's going on. We just had a movie come out this last week, Duke Kahanamoku, who is kind of a legend, if you will, in Oahu in Hawaii, and people know him as Duke's Restaurant, or Duke the Surfer, but he was so much more than that. And they just did a documentary, and so I put that was part of my article. Another one was there's some speakeasies, so I'll put an article about a speakeasy in there. There's just a lot of different things that I'll put in that are related to the community that people love. And then also at the intro, I have a video that I made, and that kind of summarizes really what's going on in the market. So That goes out to all my past clients. It goes out to all my realtors. It goes out to all of my leads. I signed them all up for it. They can sign. They can opt to sign out, and some do, but most don't. And it's a really good newsletter. And if anybody wants that, just wants access to it, so they can take a look at it, just at the end of this podcast or this webinar, just DM me or send me your info, and I'll sign you up for it. But I have a pretty high. And sometimes I get 35-40% read on that newsletter, which is way above average.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there are people who don't use me for their first loan, but I stay in touch with them through that newsletter. And I've refinanced people who they forgot who their lender was. I had this one lady. She used somebody else. Her realtor pushed her to somebody else, and she was getting my newsletter. She's like, "Hey, do you do refinances?" "Absolutely, I do, Sarah." And we stayed in contact through, really, that was like a year and a half after she had bought her home.
Wow.
I just now, actually, I have a guy he's going to close probably next week. 3 years ago, he was getting out of the military. He was doing Uber, but he didn't have enough time for that, for that income to qualify. And over the course of a couple of years, he did. Now he qualifies. Well, he went to another lender because his realtors sent him to another lender, and that lender couldn't close the loan. And so he had my info, and he's like, "Larry, I don't know why I didn't go back to you in the first place." And sure enough, we're going to close this loan this week.
That's amazing.
And to doing a loan that they couldn't do. And also, and again, this isn't me. This is my team and my company being the experts. We are the brain surgeons of the VA home loan benefit. All right. And we're able to do things that other lenders don't know how to do. It's not that they can't, it's just they don't know how to do it.
Right.
And so on this one, the appraisal came in low, and we're getting a reconsideration of value through the VA, and I expect that we'll get the value of that property up, and we'll be able to close that loan. And he qualifies without paying off all of his credit cards.
Oh, that's
which
awesome.
the lender said he had to do.
Right on. That's amazing. Well, Larry, thank you so much for sharing. This is all incredibly valuable stuff. You've mentioned you mentioned the Freedom Club in there, and I wanted to make sure that that got the proper shout out. So for our listeners that don't know what the Freedom Club is, would you mind just unpacking that for a second?
Yeah, so the Freedom Club is a group of like-minded individuals. These are lenders from across the nation, and very successful ones who it's kind of a mastermind for the top lenders in the country. And it's a place where you share your ideas, where you get assistance. You have a coach. Like, I've had a couple different coaches who've been there, done that, and they kind of provide you the tools to be successful. And one of the big things, and you can go on, they got several podcasts that they put out, Loan Officer Leadership, Freedom Club, Mortgage Marketing Animal. There's Loan Officer Breakfast Club, I think, or something like that. I don't watch a lot of the things that they do, simply because they're doing it at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I think I'm still asleep most of the time then. but they give you the tools that you need, that if you use those tools, if you do the things they tell you should be doing, you're going to be successful. And I mean, that's what we all want, is to be successful in what we do. Otherwise, why do it, right? And but most of us don't know how. I didn't wake up one day saying, I think I want to be a loan officer. No, I just kind of fell in my lap. I had no idea. It's not like my background was being a loan officer.
Yeah.
But these people, I don't know if they woke up, they were born loan officers, but they have the tools, they have the expertise, and they will help you improve your business.
That's amazing. And so we'll make sure that that all the information for the Freedom Club is in the show notes for the episode, that anybody wants to head over there and get that. Now, you mentioned the link to your newsletter, and potentially, anybody that is in your marketplace that's looking for a great loan officer team to join. How do people get a hold of you? How would you like people to reach out?
So they can certainly give me a call. My phone number is 808-348-5287. They can go to my website, and that's LarryTheLO.com. And I also have a YouTube page that I'm getting a lot of positive feedback on. I really just started it, pushing it in January. Those are really three ways to reach out. And if you want to sign up for a seminar, because we do VA seminars twice a month, plus a first-time home buyer seminar once a month. We're not just in Hawaii; we're all over the nation. I know, me personally, I'm licensed in Hawaii, California, Texas, and Virginia, because that's where my people are.
Right.
I was stationed in each of those states, or there's a lot of military ties to each of those states. So, and then we're licensed in just about every other state as well. So, but yeah, the website is awesome. You can reach out to me that way. It's probably the easiest. But the phone number, the good old fashioned Mark 1, Mod 1 works too.
That's awesome. Well, again, Larry, thank you for being so generous with your time and for sharing with us today, and for being on the show.
Hey, thanks a lot, Chris. It was great. And I don't know if you're going to be out in Lake Tahoe, but I'm going. I got to make my reservation. That's kind of near my stomping grounds. I used to go skiing there when I was a youth. So
No way.
yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And I look forward to seeing you there.
All right. Well, great. Hey, aloha.
Hello, and thanks for listening. Hey, it's Chris. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you enjoyed our guest today on the podcast. This is a reminder that we have just finished taking the greatest lessons from all of our guests and packaging them together into a brief online video presentation that's going to teach you the 10 most profitable ways to grow your mortgage business. And then we show you how to automate those processes in your business with people and systems so that you get the results without you having to do the work every day. This is quite literally a blueprint so that you walk into your mortgage business every day with pre-booked appointments with borrowers that want to meet with you and referral partners that want to send you business, so that you are spending your time inside your mortgage business on the highest dollar per hour activities, and you truly become the executive of your business, a true business owner, rather than just somebody who's going to a job every day and making a wage on the way through. This is an absolutely incredibly powerful training for you, and I cannot wait for you to experience it. So head on over to chriswebinar.com. That's chriswebinar.com to get that free training today. Now, if you could do me another favor, if you enjoyed this episode, please head on over to iTunes, search the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast, and give us a 5-star rating and review, really on any podcast platform that you're watching this on. That just 30 seconds of your time goes to help another loan officer in the industry discover this information and really help put their life and their business on track for more success. We are all in this together, and there is more than enough for all of us in the industry. So I would love if you left us that 5-star rating and review. Don't forget to stay tuned for our next episode, and I'll see you then.